I continue with my journey of Ralph Bakshi movies. I just watched Heavy Traffic, and wow, it is a filthy and very unique movie. It does what I love for animation to do. It really was done by a writer and director who understands and absolutely adores the medium, and that's great. Unfortunately, it is also incredibly misogynistic and immature and ridiculous, while also sometimes being very poignant and self aware and, God, almost self emasculating, though, of course, never too much. Like, there is a lot of Tom and Jerry violence in this movie. I mean, even with stabbing and gunfights, the blood looks like ketchup. And yeah, he ever actually gets hurt. Not even his feelings so much. At worst, he gets embarrassed a lot. His parents have a, again, very Tom and Jerry relationship of violence because they just can't stand each other. And I suppose based on Ralph Bakshi's own life, obviously, a cartoonist named Alex is just drawing in his, bedroom in what I think is New York, probably. And yeah, he is just actually, animating to all of the people in his life. And it is very unclean, uncut, but very human. Like, it's so ridiculous and honestly so dumb, it does seem the most genuine. Like, these do seem like real people because of how dumb the characters are. But then there's also the part where he is genuinely like artistic in the way that he can frame things and meld things. We don't need to get into the whole pinball machine if you've ever seen a movie, or yeah, if you have any idea about symbolism, whatever, then sure, the pinball, it's pretty obvious. But no, like just the way he decides to like go back and forth of things to show that in grown-up land, people are awful and nasty, but not so nasty because despite all of the, well, actually no, all the nipples I've seen in this movie, I never saw, and that is just so weird. Like, that's too filthy. Like, I don't understand. Though I do. This is just what I learned from the marvelous Ms. Maisel, where, yeah, you could say 100 jokes, but if you dare mention pregnancy or vagina, then you're a monster. So, yeah, but there are very interesting and tough female characters in this movie, surprisingly. Well, most of the dudes are, I'm not going to say one note, but pretty basic in their ways. You have the shy artist, Michael, who, you're rooting for because he seems like a nice guy. Blah, low bar. His father is cheating on his wife, a semi-caring dad, and a terrible boss. Yeah. And a racist. And a bad businessman. Yeah. Anyway, the women in it, you have his mother, who, yeah, apparently is like a doting Jewish mom who also regrets her husband and hates him, and is also, a woman who might have felt like she's wasted her life. She has regrets, but she's trying to make the best of it. So kudos to her. Also, Michael's friend and maybe girlfriend Carol, yeah, she does the girlfriend thing in old movies where, she supports him in his dream, yada yada. But it does not start and end with, her wanting to support him as much as she's trying to help herself, and she doesn't mind, encouraging him along the way. So good for you, Carol. She was a tough broad. She didn't flinch whenever she was called the N-word, or, when she was actually hit, she did not whine. She just stood up, called people out on their BS, and yeah, she was a tough chick, while also being endearing in her own way and being strategic in how, she could get along with the way the horrible world is. So good for you, Carol. Good for you. You're a tough broad. The rest of the movie is, yeah, a lot of unflattering stereotypes and cliches, but also gives you a minute to remember, hey, these are people. They are poor people. They are dumb people. They are scared people. They're excited. They want to have fun. They also want to survive. They want to mess with each other. they have tempers and they are violent. And yeah, humanity, adulthood, ugh. I gotta say, I remember what it felt like to be a teenager in the way that I thought all the training growing up was, to prepare me to be a good adult, to be like the best kind of person I could be when I was an adult. And then you actually meet other adults and they're horrible. They are tragic and self-pitying and violent and selfish. And yeah, heavy traffic really shows that in a way that is silly, funny, disgusting. And yeah, there are some really quiet moments. This movie is very 70s in the way that it can go onto these weird montages of nonsense that don't seem important to the plot at all, but really build an ambiance to like what the feeling is. And I'm thinking like lower than middle class, like 70s New York. And wow, it's a special movie. It's the kind of movie that, yeah, I want to brace friends to watch and then watch because, it's hard to watch, but it's also incredibly rewarding to watch. Maybe not rewarding is the word, but it did make me feel something, whether that was, an attack on my like comfort zone of political correctness. Yeah. But it also reminded me that, yeah, being an adult sucks. It really sucks. But when you're an artist, you try to make it suck as least as you can. Like, I really related to, Michael being an artist, and he actually, like, did an animatic, like, while the movie was going, or his character. Yeah, Michael was drawing, like, a cartoon sequence to a song, and it wasn't, like, fully animated and rendered, but no, it was sort of like the animatics that I have made myself that you find online, where it was just based off a song. He designed these characters. Yeah. And yeah, it was pretty original in that silly old-timey sort of way. Yeah. Amazing. The Big Lips on its African-American, creations. Part of me thinks it's great satire so people can recognize how they've identified African-Americans in cartoons. And yeah, the other part thinks it's bad taste, but bad taste is kind of what runs this whole thing. It's kind of the blood. So, wow. Am I proud of this as an animation fan? Absolutely. The part where it separates into live action sometimes really, brings you on closer to, real life. I don't need, real photos of people to believe in animation and believe in the emotion that animation can create. But the fact that they chose to, and the fact that I think, the writer-director and all used his own family, photographs and his own, neighborhood that he grew up in, knowing that, or at least even guessing that from the movie, yeah, I found that sweet. I thought some of the weird, trippy scenes were ridiculous, but entertaining enough. The characters, yeah, I related to them. I found some admirable in some moments. Most of it was absolute nonsense, but yeah, Looney Tunes were the main thing back in the 70s, so I can kind of see how it was somebody who was, trying to say, oh yes, this is definitely a cartoon. We're going to have silly cartoon antics. But then, oh no, you actually find a story that happens to be animated. God, I wish more animated features today, 2024, would do that where, yes, it's animated, but it's actually a good story too. I guess they do have that just on the mainstream, and that is why I'm on this journey. So, do I recommend this for other animation fans? Yes, it's traditional animation. It's experimental in some ways. It's not gorgeously rendered, but I don't know, it is playful and striking in enough ways. Yeah, and it's at least a good, time period discovery. I do love when movies really scream what time period they're trying to do. And for me, with the slow tuba music and just the outfits, the Beatles hair and all, yeah, it was very 70s to me. So as an animation fan, I definitely think you should see this movie. If you're just a regular person that wants to see a movie, Well, huh. You have to be in the you have to be in a mood. It's got a vibe. If you're in to see a movie that will just, gross your sensibilities, or I don't know, you want to play a drinking game, then it's all right. How young should you be when you watch this? I would say at least 15. Anything younger might be traumatizing. At least 15, at the very youngest. Anyone older than that, yeah, I guess it depends on your sensibilities and what you really want out of a film. I can't say it's for everybody, but I can say it's almost for anybody because, yeah, it has enough of real life, like people watching, to really be something special. So, yeah, despite so many times while watching Heavy Traffic and being like, ew, ew, at the end of it, I'm really happy I saw it because I found it to be such an earnest kind of movie. Wow. Well done.